Angry guy here, and men are telling other men to avoid dating Western women and become passport bros instead. So, men are telling other men to avoid dating Western women and become passport bros instead. Now, I mean, guys, I've talked about this before. There are reasons why this is happening, but something that you have to think about is also, Plan Z, which is Plan Zero, you know, and a lot of the Plan Z guys are the Zennials or the Gen Z guys. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's something wrong with Gen Z. Now, many of you know what happened with the whole Titanic situation. You know what happened with the whole sub thing. You know that by now that that something happened, and there are people who unfortunately are no longer with us as a result of poor decisions. Well, one of the guys who passed away is no longer with us. He was a billionaire. He had his son on there, and then he also has a stepson. His stepson was not on there with him, and he passed, and he's still with us. But he's a Gen Zer, and this, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Gen Z is not right. So if you're looking at the screen, the stepson of British billionaire Hamish Harding, who passed away in the whole on the Titan, he's receiving fresh social media backlash. Why is that happening? Well, it's because of some of the things that he said. It happened after he started claiming that he's set to receive an inheritance, but he still can't get a date. And, we're going to actually look at some of the things that this young man said. He says, with millions to spare, I still can't get laid. Right? And this is a kid who also used the N word, who used the N word pretty casually, and made it clear he wasn't apologizing for it either. And no one really is messing around. Not even Snoop called him out on that. I already told y'all something's wrong with Gen Z. A lot of people don't want to argue with these people, with these kids anymore. We all know something's wrong with them. Gen Z, guys, look at this face. This kid, look at that illness. You can see mental health issues on that face. Brian Jaz, I cannot pronounce that name, revealed that he now has millions to spare in a series of bizarre antagonistic tweets. And if we jump a little further into this, it's pretty interesting. He says, "Quit asking me for money unless you're a beautiful woman, trans women too, an OF model, or a black dude trying to go to college." And someone asked him a question, how much inheritance money did you get? Anything more than $0 is too much. And he said, more than you'll make in a lifetime. Yeah, this guy's pretty bad. But it's something you have to consider that he's a Gen Zer. And there's something wrong with these guys, like mentally wrong with these guys. Like they need to be institutionalized wrong with these guys. There's something wrong inside. I mean, this is a generation who they were born into chaos. Us millennials, we transitioned into this. It didn't just happen right away. They warmed us up at least a little bit. It was just one catastrophe after another catastrophe after another catastrophe. Gen Z, on the other hand, most of them were born into the madness. You know, they were born post. Many of them were born post 2001. All right, some of them were born. A lot of them were born. During the 2008 financial crisis. This is nothing new for them. But by the time they could read and write, social media was already a thing. They were already on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You know, and it's just pretty worrying, and it's pretty questionable. And you shouldn't be surprised. And this is one of the reasons why men are telling other men to avoid dating in the West, because you're going to run into these guys. And I put up a poll where I basically asked, like, what's the creepiest generation? I asked people, come on guys, tell me, what is the creepiest generation? And the numbers weren't even close. You know, It was 59%. 59% of people said, yeah, Generation Z is the creepiest generation. They're absolutely little creeps. And, and of course, Gen X was like the most beloved generation. Like the numbers were actually pretty crazy. I guess I'll show you the numbers so you can see them for yourself because they're actually they're pretty surprising. But then I guess not all that surprising. I'm gonna go ahead and jump them onto the screen for you, and you can see them now. Millennials were 17%. They were rated 17% as most creepiest. Baby boomers 19, so their parents are more creepier than them. So the bastards of the boomers. That makes perfect sense. They go hand in hand. Gen X, the coolest generation, only 5%. They are beloved, and then Gen Z is a unstoppable 59%. At that rating, it's almost unanimous that they are the creepiest generation to ever walk the face of the earth, at least in modern history. But it's more than that, and they know. Gen Z knows. They know that they're creepy. They know that they're you know there's a lot of problems with them. Zero cash, zero motivation, zero integrity, and in many ways zero future. I mean, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Back in my day, you know, that creepy person, they courted you. Now Gen Z, they're courting the creepy person because they are the creepy person. Gen Z are little creeps, okay? And this is why men have to avoid dating in the West. They have to avoid relationships in the West. They have to avoid all of this because this is just a terrible generation, and it's only going to continue getting worse from here because these people are sick. They have some. There's something wrong inside of them. The millennials are bad enough. And someone has pointed out to me that, Gen X women, a lot of people don't realize it, they're in their 50s now, and many of them are now going to be entering into their 60s in the coming years. And they are single, they are alone, they are childless, and they are miserable. They're going to have to work for the rest of their life, and they don't have that kind of money. A lot of y'all think that, they're untouchable and they're unstoppable. They don't have that kind of money to retire. All right. A lot of y'all think that they're gonna get their bag. Who's gonna give them their bag? Who's trying to date them at this age? Like it's crazy. And a lot of these women, like their behavior, they act like really rude and disrespectful, like 20 somethings or 18-year-old or high schoolers, and they dress like high schoolers and they act like rude and disrespectful high schoolers that haven't matured. And like bro, you're like 60 years old right now. You look older, and it's because you've been out in the streets for so long. Like, what were you doing out there? I know that you were, I know you're going around with Tyrone, Ray Ray, Pookie, Chad, Brad, but the streets have not been kind to you. They have not been kind to you, and it's just a sad situation. But I mean, it's pretty darn clear, and that's why men are telling other guys, like, listen, don't do it, don't mess with it, stay away from it. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to never miss another video again. And also like this video because it tells YouTube, I like this guy's content. I want to see more of his content, so please show me more. And YouTube will say, sure, here's some more. All right, and you'll get more, and you'll enjoy yourself because who doesn't love this stuff? Guys, you need to be mindful, you need to be aware, you need to understand that we're pretty much at the end of it. There's no real going back from this. The West is pretty much, it's not a place where you want to hang out. It's not a place where you want to start a future, you want to start a life. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Men are going to start new lives overseas. They're going to start new lives in Filipino lives, and establish new communities of expatriates in other countries and around the world. And I'm telling you, this is really where things are headed, because it's really insane when you look at what's happening in the West and you look at the mental state of this new of Gen Z. Like there's, like I've said it once, I'll say it again. There's something wrong with them. All right, there is something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them, and it's only going to continue to manifest further over time. Let me know what you guys think. All right, about this, men are telling other men to avoid dating in the West and become password bros instead. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men Walking Away. And cheers.